Here I have white, black, red, yellow, and blue. You might have other colors available to you, and that's great. But if you only have white, black, yellow, red, and blue, then that's all you need for this painting. And I will say that this is, I'm so happy you guys are here, because this is a fun one. It's a challenging one. Anytime that we do animals or something as iconic as the lion shrine, it can be a little intimidating, but we're going to go through it step by step. And when I paint mine along with you, it certainly won't look like the one I have. They're all going to be a little different, and that's totally cool. And I'll go over certain little tips and tricks to make sure that he looks proportional. Because with animals, one false move and it might turn into a bunny rabbit, you know, so we have to be careful. But I'll be here every step of the way. And we're going to start out real simple so we can get warmed up. So I'm going to put my white canvas here. And we're going to work on our background first. And all I'm going to do is take my big brush and some white paint, and I'm going to cover pretty much the whole canvas in white paint. And that's going to help us get a nice blended sky. So I think if you want to conserve your white paint, I think going down a little bit more than halfway would be fine, but you can certainly cover the whole canvas. It is nice to get a coat of paint on a dry, scratchy canvas anyway. It makes things a bit easier to move paint around. So I'm just gonna be real liberal here with my white and just cover this canvas right up. And I think just in case I don't notice any questions in the chat, I think the host will let me know if there are questions. But please do type any questions you have in the chat. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Speaking of going fast, I do want to work quickly here because I want to make sure that I can blend my blue into this paint as it is still wet. So I'm just kind of adding some more white here just to ensure that this is nice and wet for me to put some blue on. And if you look at my brush, I still have quite a bit of white paint, and that's absolutely perfect. I don't need to clean the brush at this point. And what I'm going to do is just dip into a bit of blue. So on the end of my bristles there, I've got some blue. And then with my wet white paint on the canvas, I can just start moving that blue around and blending it in. You might want a nice bright blue, meaning you have a lot of blue paint on there. You might want a really, really subtle faint blue, in which case you might want to add more white. I hope my dishwasher gurgling isn't too distracting. And I'm just going to I call this the swish and flick, little crisscrossies like this. So that's what they look like, kind of slow down. And you can just move that blue into that white. Maybe you want to leave some white spaces open for clouds, but for me, if we look at the original, a lot of that gets covered up anyway with trees and foliage, so I don't worry so much about clouds with this painting. If you do go in with blue and you think, oh wow, that was more blue than I thought I had, then you can always just wipe off any excess on paper towel, grab some more white paint, and just smudge that in. And if you're wondering how far are we going to go, I think 3/4 of the way is fine. So much of this is going to get covered up anyway. But I do kind of get carried away because I like doing this part. But 3/4 of the way should be fine. And let's see. I'm looking at the video and I'm looking at the canvas in real life. And I think it's a little bit more bold in the video than it is looking for me in real life. All right. So once we're all set there. Oh, yes, good question. Yep, the canvas is vertical. You could do it any which way you like, really. So now that I'm done kind of playing around with my blue background, I will wipe off any excess paint on a paper towel. It's always a good idea to wipe off before you rinse. It saves the water. It also can extend the life of your brush, so you're not kind of like smushing it down in your cup too much. And then I'll give that a good clean rinse in my cup. And I can put that brush aside because I'm going to move to my smaller brush. And I'll take a little pause here and take a look, see how everybody's doing. I do love seeing everybody working, so don't be shy. Feel free to turn on your video. I love kind of when people hold up their work. So please don't be shy. And I can also sort of tell if the pacing is okay. Oh, wow, we've got a nice crew. Becky Horn and crew over here. Awesome, I love it. Hi, welcome. So if you're ready to rock and roll for a next step, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, either in your video or if you can choose the thumbs up emoji. I don't want to go ahead too far. See a couple of thumbs up. So while people are still catching up, I'll kind of talk through what we're about to do here. Okay, so before we tend to our trees and all that stuff behind the lion, we're actually going to do some preliminary sketching of some basic shapes for this lion, okay? And that part, the sketching part, is really kind of a warm-up. We're gonna get loose. We're gonna feel good about having fun and not stressing too much, because we can always fix him as we go along. This preliminary sketch is just to kind of block him, the basic shape of him on the canvas. So we're basically doing like his square face, adding some triangle ears and taking care of his body and whatnot. And that's just going to be an outline. And then we'll do our trees and stuff, so we can take a breather from him and then we can tend to him as we finish. And I just want to check in one more time. I see a thumbs up in the chat. How about now? Are we good? All right, I see some thumbs in the video. Awesome. I see more yellow thumbs elsewhere. Okay, so for our lion color, obviously you can do whatever color you like. I've seen some great paintings of the shrine done in like blues, but you can obviously do whatever color you like. I'm gonna try to get this, I don't even know what you would call it, sand. It's basically a gray brown, very, very, very light. So what I'm going to do is start with a whole bunch of white. You can kind of see my old dried stuff over here. I'm going to move a whole bunch of white in a place where I can mix. I'm going to grab a smidgy smooch of black. That is a technical term for just a wee bit of black paint. So I can start making a nice pale gray. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, probably a smidgy smooch of yellow, and even a smidgy smooch of red. Now, some of you, if you have craft paint, you might have a bottle just ready made of this color. Those little craft bottles, they make a million colors, so that would be helpful right about now. But any really light gray will be fine. And then if you add a little orange to that gray, you'll get kind of a sandy color. So red and yellow make orange. So again, I've got white, little smidgy of black, and red and yellow. Okay. And again, we're just sketching here, so we don't have to make a ton of this color just yet. But if you do have a ton of that color, we certainly will use it later. All right, let's talk basic shapes, okay? For his head or his face, while it doesn't look this way now because this is a finished painting, all I did was start with a kind of roundish square. Okay, and the tippy top of his head, I mean, if I put my brush here, his tippy top of his head goes a little bit past midway on this canvas. So don't be afraid to go pretty high up on that canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of say, all right, his tippy head, the tippy top of his head is kind of a little bit above center here. And he's got a little angle to his face. So I'm going to start sketching this round-ish square. And so it starts above midway point, and let's see how far do we go across. Gosh, you know, that right side of his face is pretty much dead center. So I'm going to make sure I'm kind of in the middle of my painting here. And I'm making a square, but I'm just kind of rounding the sides. Something like that. So again, just as a proportion thing, the tippy top of his head goes above midway on the canvas, and the right side of his face is pretty much dead center, going up and down. And it's a square, but I've rounded the sides. And my stroke is very light and sketchy. I'm not 100% committed at this point. I'm just kind of planning things out. How are we doing? Don't hold your breath. Don't forget to breathe. We got this. All right, let's give this boy some ears. So ears on animals, ears on people can be tricky because we want to make sure the proportions are right. So if we look at the original, we check out these little ears. If we look at their length, okay, their length is just about a little bit shorter than his forehead. And when I say forehead, I mean this part across here, right? So we want to make sure that we give enough room for the little top of his head, okay? So maybe his ears are just about as long as that spot right there. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're putting your ears on. I'm going to start, let's start with the hard one. This has an interesting shape here. It's not a perfect triangle. It kind of starts out squarish and then gives us a little angle. So let's try that. And I'm just going to plop that on the corner of my rounded square. And I'm going to start small because I can always make it bigger. It gets a little harder to make things smaller if we go too big. But I already see that those are probably too small because I'm going to have a massive blank spot on the top of his head, but I want them to be about the same length, the length of the ear and the space across the head. So I'm going to make that a bit taller. Let's try something like that. That might be more like it. And then I can have this other ear come out somewhere here. I think that's pretty good. So I'm just checking the length of each ear and comparing it to that flat top of his head. Okay. And if you're looking at your painting and you're like, wow, this looks like a piece of toast with wings, then you're probably doing something right. Okay. And remember, we're not done sculpting him, right? We're not done giving him his bulges and things. So it might look a little silly right now, but we will fix that. Again, we're just sketching, we're just blocking. I wouldn't get too futzy and finicky at this point because we just want to kind of sketch and then we'll move on to our background. All right, now for his shoulder here, okay. So a key feature of the lion shrine is that he's, what do you call that? On the prowl. What do you call that? Stalking. He's like stalking his prey, right? So his head is low, his shoulders are up. We want to make sure we kind of honor that awesome position of his head low and in his shoulders. So this little bend, let me show you. This little bend over here, we want to make sure that bend, that angle right there, stays above his left cheek. So take a moment. These are all these little details that once we go off, things look a little wonky. So this little angle here of his shoulder, right there, goes above his cheek. So I want to make sure that my shoulder here has a corner above this cheek. Something like that. Again, we are just sketching here. Things are going to look a little funny, but we're just making a plan. All right, and then he's got this great paw that sits on that slab, okay? And I want to make sure that the distance between his head and the top of that paw isn't too big, right? Because he's really crouched down there, right? So if I take my fingers here, the distance between his face and the length of the paw, top to bottom, the height of the paw, are almost the same. The paw is probably bigger. It is bigger, okay? So when we put this paw in, you're gonna laugh. It's just gonna be a circle for now. I'm just gonna plop this paw in as a circle or an oval. And that tells me that that's gonna be his paw. Again, just kind of sketching things out. No real details. We're just making a plan. So just in case I've gone too fast, we started with that roundish square. We added his ears, which we said the height and length of those ears are about the same as the distance across or between them. We gave him a shoulder angle that is higher than his chin here. And we gave a funny looking blob for his paw right below the side here. And that paw, the height of that paw is bigger than the distance between it and his head. If any of you are feeling stressed right now, you're probably not alone. Don't worry about it. Try to have fun. We're having fun, right? We're painting a picture of the wine shrine. I mean, how much better does it get for a Tuesday night here? The way that I talk about like the distance and the length, that's how my brain works. So your brain might not work that way, and that's totally fine. All right. Let's take care of his chest down here. Actually, no, I'm a liar. Let's not do that. We'll take care of that later. Let's get his sloping back and rump down the side here. So we have his upper shoulder and back that's coming out the side of his face. We swoop down and then we curve over his rump. Okay, so it's a nice curvy line here. I'm thinking, what is that? Is that a sine curve? Any engineers or math people? I think this is a sine curve, people, a really flat one. So let's take that from here. Again, that's coming out almost by his eye, right? Again, keeping these lines up near his eye like that will help him have that crouch, that stalking look. So let's give him that swoop here, and then we'll bring him down here. Again, he's looking pretty silly right now. I'm getting kind of piglet vibes. I also see a horse head all of a sudden. I made a horse. I didn't even know it. That might be the best horse I've ever painted in my life, actually. Horses are hard. For me, anyway. I know some people are really good at them. All right. Now, again, just kind of sketching, planning things out. His other arm, his forepaw here, his forearm, we can't see all of it. It kind of dips down below that canvas. but I want to make sure that I kind of tell myself that that is going there, that belongs there. And I'm going to start with this crease. This is the crease where his arm meets his body. And you see that that's kind of parallel to his face here. So I'm going to imagine that being something like this. And that just tells me, you know, I got to put his arm there later. And then for our final move, and we'll put the lion shrine on pause. Pause. Yes, pause. Anyway, we'll put this line for the slab that he's on. Again, just to kind of let us know that that's going there. So this paw sits right on top of that slab, and this paw kind of reaches in front of it. So that's why I have a line going through and behind that first paw, the second paw. All right, I will take a pause here. And if anyone dares to hold up what they've got so far, it's my favorite part. Oh, I hear. Oh, yes. Yes, everybody. Oh my gosh, you guys rock. Oh my gosh.
Not
you
all
guys
of us.
Totally rock. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is so cool. People are going to be so impressed. Awesome. 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 Oh, I'm so excited. All right. So once we're kind of at this point, we can take a breather, pat ourselves on the back, and let's tend to our background. So I'm going to wipe off any excess paint from my brush and give that a good clean rinse. I'm going to go back to my big brush, but you can use whatever brush you feel comfortable with. I'm going to start with some tree trunks. So back in the original painting, I've got this big guy on the right and some medium and small ones on the left there. And here, let's take a nice, relaxing stroll through the trees here. We can kind of get loosened up again, breathe again, and have fun putting these tree trunks down. I'm going to mix a brown, which for me, because of the colors that I have available, starts out as black and red, and then I add some yellow. But really, a mix of all of your primary colors will give you brown. A little black can make it a little bit darker. White will make it lighter. Maybe you have brown already. But I'm just going to mix mine up and drop a paper towel on the floor. Oof. All right. So I'm going to start with black. Add some red. Grab some yellow. And that's nice and dark. I'm going to add a little bit more red. So yeah, whatever brown that you kind of like. When I add red to my black, it looks kind of purple. And so to counteract that, I grab some yellow. Ooh, that might work. Almost looks like hot fudge. Yes, please. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of white there. We're just having fun mixing paint. Can't go wrong. All right, something like that, or whatever you want. And I'm going to start with my bigger tree. And with my nice big flat brush, I'm basically just using the width of that brush to pull down a nice trunk. And I highly recommend a sound effect. It always helps me. I'm just gonna kind of carefully go around our lion here. I can always fix that up later. And I'm just gonna fill that in. My paints have been sitting out for a bit, so they're a little hard for me to move around here. A little bit thick. That's okay. And just kind of fill in those little spots. So that's my big guy. And then I have like medium and small hanging out. And you can put these wherever your little heart desires, right? Now, if I'm doing something thinner, I like turning the brush so the bristles are vertical and kind of pull that one down. And don't worry if you're like kind of getting paint in your lion here. We can always fix that up later. This one of these is kind of leaning over here, maybe. And then I got some other guys over here. Who doesn't love trees? So we can just kind of go crazy here. Big trees, little trees, happy trees. We got it all. I don't know. I feel like I need a little one over here too. Just a little guy. And this, my fellow artists, this is where this flat angled brush is my best friend, right? I can cover large amounts of space quickly, and then I can turn my brush vertically, and I can get these nice lines. So if you do enjoy painting, highly recommend treating yourself. Go to Michael's, go online. I don't know how much this one was. They can't be more than $10. But a nice brush, you can get a nice brush for less than $10. Which, if you're not painting all the time, sounds kind of ridiculous. But if you're painting all the time, then it's worth it. All right. I'm feeling good about that. So once you've got your tree trunks, you can start adding branches. And you can have as many or as few as you like. I love pulling out branches pretty long. I try to extend them almost off the canvas. They get nice and crisscrossy. But yeah, so that's going to be my next move, adding some branches. And again, this flat angled brush is great for these little branches. We can get nice and thin. Here branch, there branch, everywhere, little branch, branch. And again, have fun here, right? There's really no wrong way to paint a branch. And if you're looking at your tree trunks and you're like, wow, they're really dark, go ahead and add white to your mixture, and you can kind of add some lighter highlights to them. Give them some texture. Uh-oh. Looks like my painting froze. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, but the
Okay.
painting is
It
frozen.
looks like my painting is, it looks like it's connecting. We'll see if we're getting back here. All right. Yeah, the Wi-Fi is just being super weird tonight. As long as we've been doing this, this has never happened. Let's see. All right, I think I'm gonna have to leave and come back in. Let's see. We will make this work.
Jackie, the camera on you is live. It's the picture was frozen.
Yeah, so I might, worst case scenario, I'll have to situate the laptop, which is what you see me on the painting. The question is, how do I do that? I will figure that out. I'm gonna give it one more try, and then we can just move to, I'll move my laptop somehow. I had a bunch of apps open on my phone, so maybe that was an issue. I don't know if that's a thing. Let's see. Well, at the very least, folks are catching up on their tree trunks and branches here. All right. I'm giving up on the phone, and then I will just need a moment to kind of get myself arranged here. Let's see how this will work. Oh, good idea. Yeah. What other ideas, what other paintings would you like to see? Let us know in the chat. All right. Oh, the duck pond.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be fun. Creamery ice cream. So is that going to work if you pin that? Let's see, can I pin it or spotlight for everyone? Okay. See the thing about doing it on my phone is that I can crop it so you don't see my family. And, but let's see. Is that, will that work? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, the We Are statue, the mirrored sculpture, that with the words, that would be cool, like a reflection painting. Old Main is really hard. I've done it before with groups. It takes a long time. The lighting is bad. Yeah. How's that?
That looks a little bit better. It's not as washed out.
Yeah.
I think when you moved it though, it just washed out again.
Oh. All right.
That should work.
All
At least
right.
it looks good on my screen.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's keep going, folks. All right. So now I'm going to be painting over my laptop here. We'll see if this works. And can you hear me okay from back here? Because now I'm behind the microphone.
Yes, you're still good.
Okay. All right. And I won't be able to really see you guys. All right. We are making it work. So now we've got our trees and our branches and things. Let's start plopping in some foliage. And I'm going to start with light green, and I'm going to make it darker and darker as we go along. Okay. I'm still going to use my big brush, but I do need to wipe off the excess paint. You can give it a wash if you want. I like it when colors kind of bleed together. So I'm going to get like the bulk of this excess off. But I'm not going to mind if some of that kind of bleeds into my green. So you might have straight up green paint at your house. I've got yellow and blue. So I'm going to grab some yellow, stick it in this corner, and grab some blue. And I'm looking for a light green to start with. And with this, with my trusty flat angled brush, I can use the corner of the brush to kind of stamp foliage here and there. So I can do something like this. Just a little tappy tap tap. You can do that. You can also play with holding your brush different ways. You can do vertical taps. So then these can kind of look like little pine bushes in the distance. But just kind of play with. It's really hard doing this because I like seeing what the video looks like, but I can kind of creep in from the side here. So little tappy taps. And I'm actually going to use this light green oof, use this light green and go all the way down the side of our shrine here. And this is just, you know, all of that background greenery that gets kind of mushed in the distance. And I'll do that on his other side as well. And we will darken that up as we go. But I just kind of want to tell myself, yep, all of this is just background greenery. Just, again, having fun with a little tap, 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 stamp, stamp, stamp. This is a quick way to get foliage down. And I always say, don't be shy about putting foliage even in places where there aren't branches, because our brains will fill in the gaps for us. I'm going to leave kind of the outline around him free of foliage for now, because I want to make sure that I have control about where he is and what he looks like. But you'll notice that in the finished product, I get really dark with the foliage around him. And that's on purpose to make sure that he really pops and also show that that foliage is going, you know, pretty far back. But I'm going to leave that open for now, just so I can control him more, because he's the most important part, right? So I've got these little tippy taps stamped around for foliage. That's my light green. I'm going to make a darker green. How do I do that? I can add more blue. And I can do a little smidgy smooch of black too. And then with that darker green, I can tap around my lighter green, and it gives it just kind of some dimension and fun. I can tap down here too. All right, I think I'm going to pause there. And we also have our, I don't think they're lilac, but there's some tree that sprouts in the summer that gives us these really fun pink and kind of lavender blossoms. So we'll add those in a moment. basically same technique of stamp, 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 but I moved to my smaller brush just to get a different shape, a different texture. So that's where we're headed next. But I will take a little pause here to make sure everybody's caught up on the greenery. And I am wiping off my brush and giving that a good clean rinse. And I'm going to refresh my water here. All right, I'm going to creep on over to the front here and just kind of check in, see how everyone's doing. Hard at work. Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Such a good job. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, these are beautiful. Oh my gosh. The advanced crew is out tonight.
Oh, don't worry. You have one who's not advanced. My proportions are not good.
There is time to fix that.
Uh,
And then take a look. Oh, these are looking so good.
See what I mean?
Awesome. Wait, where are you?
Right here, too small.
There, no, he'll work. He will work for sure.
We'll see.
Awesome work. All right, so I think maybe just one more minute and then we can, oh, very nice. I see you. Yep. Who is that? Balestra. Awesome. So good. I just have to scroll to make sure I see everyone. So don't worry if I don't comment on yours. I probably can't scroll in time. All right. So I will start by mixing up some lavender or pinks. I have basically a lavender and a pink together, and that kind of helps give some dimension. So I'm going to start, yeah, I started with the lavender, so I'll start with the lavender again. So for me, that means that I need to mix some red and blue with some white. That was a lot of white, so I will have to add more red and blue. All right. And then with that, I just kind of follow along branches here. So this foliage looks a bit more, I'd say linear. The green foliage is a bit more fluffy, but these are kind of following actual branches. At least they are in my head. And I can even add blossoms where there aren't branches, because this is my painting and I can do what I want. So again, I'm using my smaller brush just to kind of give myself different textures and shapes from my bigger brush. And I start with my lavender. And then I can go over that with some pink. Give it some highlight and some dimension. So I just mixed some red and white for my pink, and then I'm just going to kind of touch here and there on the blossoms I've already done. Give them a bit of little sunlight and depth. Ooh, that got really light. All right. Something like that. All right, come back around. Take a little pause here to get everybody caught up. And we will be moving towards the lion shrine once we're wrapped up with our blossoms. So if you are done with your blossoms, I recommend mixing up some more of that color that you used for the outline to get you situated. All right, how are we doing? I'm curious to see some of these pink and purple blossoms. I love it. Oh, I love them. I love them. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are great. Love it. Oh, I love that sunset. Yes. Beautiful. These are wonderful. Anybody hiding in the back here? Nope. Beautiful. Oh, these are great. All right. So I'll do a little bit of talking as we're gearing up for finishing off our lion shrine. That color that you mixed for the outline, hopefully that's pretty light. That color is going to be the majority color of our lion. And that I will say is like our medium color. It's a light medium. We're also going to be working with a dark, right, for these shadows. And then we'll also be working with a light to highlight his eyes, to add highlights kind of in different places. So we're thinking of this color in three types: dark, medium, and light. And the medium is actually pretty light as well. Okay, but that's kind of like our 3 musical notes that we'll be using. And we're starting with the light medium to kind of fill everything in. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to whip up some more of that color for myself because I don't think I have enough. So that's what I'll be doing. And I'll be using my big brush again so I can cover large areas. So for me, that color is a lot of white, a little touch of black to make it gray, and touch of yellow. And a little touch of red as well. All right. So right now I've got poor lion is like a blockhead. He looks like a piece of toast to me. Okay. But he's a little bit more interesting than a piece of toast. He's got bulges and curves, right? So for one, I want to make sure that I give him a decent chin on the left here, which I think I kind of got it already, but he's got this nice, what do you call that? Like a cheekbone. So I just kind of want to make sure that I'm giving him all the proper curves. Something like that. Okay. And it will probably be really helpful to give him his little chinny chin. So this chin bulges beyond the square that we have, right? So that we can kind of pop out here. For me, it's more towards the right because his head's kind of turned that way. Okay, so that's that bulge for his chin. Okay, I'm not worried if it's too big or too small at this point. I kind of want to work in some sketching. Right, so that's his chin, and then right above his chin, we get his muzzle or his lips. Okay, and those are 2 little bulges as well. Right. Well, let's kind of sketch those in. Something like this. So again, I just kind of made sure that I gave him just a little cheekbone here on the side, a little bit more rounded out in the jaw, but then definitely he needs a jaw. He needs his little chin. And then right above his chin, we get these two mounds, these two lumps for his muzzle or his lips, really. And here's where he kind of starts popping. He starts popping out. On the right side, I want to make sure I give him his eye orbital here. So this is kind of a curve, right? I want to make sure that curve is there for him. So he actually has an eye socket. And then below that eye socket, we get his jaw line kind of popping out. So something like that. All right, I'm going to stop and kind of review what I've done in case you're catching up. So again, I started on the left. I kind of rounded out that cheekbone or that eye socket orbital, rounded his chin a bit. And then I made this jaw, really is what it is. And then I made sure to give him a chin a little bit to the right on that main square. Okay. And then right above that, two more little humps. It looks like a W. How about that? A W with round bottoms here. That's for his muzzle or his lips. On the right side, I rounded out a bit on that square for his eye socket. And then below that, I made sure his jaw was prominent here, little angle. How we doing? I'll take a pause. Anybody has any questions? Again, try to have fun, try to kind of relax and be playful with it. Don't stress. Awesome work. I see that chin. Very nice. Way to go. All right. Let's let this lion see, this poor lion. Let's give him some eye sockets and eyebrows. So what I'm talking about here are these shadows that represent the socket where his eyes live, right? And I want to make note about how far that is from his ears, right? So just kind of make a note. You don't want to be too far away from his ears. You don't want to be up in his ears. So leave a little room for his eyebrow, for his little eye socket. Something like that. And I'm just kind of playing around here, kind of sketching until I think I've got it. He also has these concerned wrinkles in his forehead. And I can even add his little nostrils. Again, still kind of sketching at this point. We can always fix. And while we're at it, I think I'm gonna kind of, from this blob that it is his front paw, I'm gonna try to find, develop these individual toes. I think he's got 4. So again, if you missed that, I just added some definition to these toes on his paw in the front there. All right, so we've rounded out his features in his head. We gave him a chin. He's got lips. We found his eye sockets. We gave him some nostrils for now that I might fix later. I've distinguished his toes out in the front. Let's also tend to some shadow. So I said that this was our medium color, but let's use it to mark out our shadows. So his muzzle really pops because under his cheekbones are in shadow. So let's kind of fill that in, give him some shadow there. Something like that. And then he's also got this big shadow because we're kind of looking through his body between that slab. And I can indicate that as a little, basically a little triangle that goes up against his arm. He also has shadow on the right side of that arm going to his hind leg. That's kind of a little sliver of shadow. And he's also got some shadows, of course, in his little ears, which were the one was just beautifully repaired. All right. So basically what I've led us through is the shadows of this shrine, this lion shrine. I'm also going to add shadow here above his paw. All right. So I'm going to do a recap in a second because I moved through that pretty quickly. So with this color where I started to indicate the darker areas, right, which show where he kind of cuts in, those fall into shadow. So I've got his cheek right next to his muzzle. This side as well. We have under his chest here. This is basically where, you know, we can see through his belly into the background. This shadow indicates, you know, his back leg there. We also have shadow above his paw because that's just kind of farther back from us. That little kind of shoulder or bicep area. We also gave him eye sockets. Okay. We can also indicate a little bit of his nose. But really all of this work that we're doing is to try to make him, you know, come to life, make his shapes pop a bit more. And what I'm going to do, since that color for me at least is pretty dark, I can lighten that color by adding white. And then that becomes what I'm going to fill him in with the rest of his body. But let me pause here because I went through some complicated maneuvers here. And I will pause and see if anybody has any questions. Again, my best advice is to please just let yourself have fun. They're looking beautiful. And everyone will know what it is, even if you think it looks terrible. I promise you that. I have an idea. I'm going to take a pause. My parents just pulled in and I feel like I should give them some privacy as they enter the house. So I'm gonna mute and black out my screen. This is also giving myself an opportunity to use the restroom. So I will do that. I thought I could make it to the end, but I don't think it's wise. So I'm gonna mute and hide my screen for a moment and let my parents come inside and go to the bathroom. So I'll be back in the flow.
She's taking a break. Her parents have come to.
Getting there, getting there.
Thank you, dear. This is amazing.
There's a couple things I gotta tell you about this one.
Oh, all right.
They're not in any order, like sometimes the pages signed by County of Allegheny and there's nothing around it.
As long as you didn't mess up the apostilles or anything.
I'm just saying it's totally out of order.
That's fine. I'll figure it out.
And what, I think it should.
Did you
do-
keep that in order? Or
That
no?
it was, yeah.
Yeah, that it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
like,
Well, don't worry about anything else.
and I think that when you said it, you should, pay.
All right. And we are back. So what I was up to before that little break, I am going to mix up a lighter version of this color. And that's going to be what I fill him in with. Basically all those empty spaces I can fill in with this lighter version of that same color. I'm going to go pretty light because I want that to be pretty contrasted, right? Let's see if this will do. I'm going to go lighter. I'm going to go lighter than that even. Let's try that. Oh yeah, that'll do. So I'm just going to fill in all of that empty space with this lighter color. Even that slab gets this color down below. And his paw here. And I'm kind of doing a really quick, basically a quick and dirty job of filling this in. we can always play with details, right? But I like kind of just, we did a lot of futzing and sketching, right? But this is helpful to just fill everything in. And then we can kind of take a step back and see where we're at, right? Get his little eyes in there. And don't worry about if you paint over any details that you liked, like the nostrils might get kind of covered, but I can always, you know, pick those up again, of course. And I can already see that he's a different color than the one I did earlier. But that's the fun of this. Everybody's is going to look a little different. We all have our own take on it. Different colors. I saw someone had a sunset. So everybody's is just going to be unique to them. See, I have some blue sky popping through here and make sure that's all covered. How we doing out there? I can't wait to see these. So I can see kind of, I've covered up some of my shadow already, and I'll just have to touch that up again. I'll use my small brush for that. Eyes are tricky. One wrong move and they can look angry, which I might have just done there. You can always fix it. There's no nostrils. Need to come back. So now at this point, once I've kind of filled everything in, I can start playing. I've got my light color on my big brush and dark color on my small brush, and I can just kind of play back and forth, touching him up, you know, where I think he needs to be. Mm. All right. I'm cleaning my small brush because what I can do now is start highlighting with the lightest color. So we did dark, medium, and my highlight color is basically going to be straight white. And I can just touch, you know, the tips of his ears, the top of his head, his eyes, the round part of his eyes, maybe a little area on his nose, his shoulder back here, just anywhere where I want to kind of add a little shine and highlight. And I'm using very little paint on that brush for these highlights. All right, so to recap, I used that light color to fill in. And then I went back to that darker color to maybe take care of anything that I kind of covered inadvertently. Do want to give him those that furrowed brow. Business lines. I think all moms and dads have the business lines in their eyebrows. Oh, all right. Let's come around here. Take a little pause. And for my last trick, I'm going to really make him pop by adding that really dark foliage, right? And again, that contrast will just make him totally pop out. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine too. Maybe you're looking at your shrine, your line right now, and you're like, hey, he's looking pretty good. I don't know if I want to add that, and that's totally fine. Let me just take a little pause here, see if there's any oh, is there something in the chat that I missed? We are, thanks. Okay, I missed that, so I don't know what that was for. But yeah, any questions, let me know in the chat. Love to see how you're doing. Everybody looks really hard at work. I love it. Oh, beautiful blossoms and flowers and your lion. Awesome. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? I hope you like it. I hope you love it. That looks beautiful. Awesome work. Let's see, anybody else? Oh, question? Sandra? You're muted, I can't hear you. Sandra or Sandra, you're muted, so I can't hear you if you're talking. Let's see. Yes! She says no. So you can give him that slab, that pediment, right? That he rests on. You might want to Google the picture of him and see. And then I would just put green in the background, but give him that little pediment to sit on. That looks great.
You don't think his ears are a little too big?
They do look like kind of kitten, like puppy ears, like he's a young lion, but I think it works. I really do. The question, will this be rebroadcast? I know they're recording it and then they will share that. Jean. So this is being recorded, I believe.
Yes, this is being
Yes.
recorded and you'll be able to view it again in the on-demand section of the attendee hub.
Perfect. I wonder if me being by the camera is making the lighting weird. Cool. All right. Anybody else? Oh, these are gorgeous. Oh, that sunset is just so good. Nice. Anybody else? Oh, here we go. Nice job. You guys, stop it, Heather Good. That looks great. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is a challenging one and you guys are doing awesome. How about it? Elizabeth Beck. Awesome. I always feel like Romper Room right now. And I see Roseanne's. Awesome. Beautiful. Oh, these are so good. I hope you guys are super proud and like what you've done. This is really, really a challenging one. All right, I'm going to get back around and yes, Lynette, I see Lynette. Beautiful. Love the shadowing. All right, before I get too carried away, I'm going to hop back around here. And I do like that contrast of the dark green, so I am going to add that for him. Wipe off my excess paint. And start mixing up this dark green, which for me is yellow and blue and a little bit of black. And then I can just start can start with a tap and then got to get a little bit more careful around his actual body. I just clipped his ear. I'll have to take care of that later. Get that all filled
Jackie,
in.
can you repeat the color that you're using? We have a question
Oh,
about it.
absolutely. Absolutely. This is my dark green. So I've got blue, yellow, and a touch of black. Little smooch of black will go a long way, and it helps to give it that nice, deep, dark, almost pine color. And then I just kind of use that to fill in all around him. And then I can get kind of tappy. A little stamp, 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 tap, tap, tap to get that foliage texture. And then we can even probably see some of that coming through the bottom, depending on how much you've done. And I gotta fix his ear. I just made this little guy on the left here super pointy. Looks like a Doberman right now. Let's fix you. I'm sorry, Lion Shrine. All right. We can just play with this till the cows come home, really. But yeah, once we've got that green in the background, I would put a fork in this guy. Already much different than my original. Everybody's is going to be a little different. I think my ears got a little big here. That's okay. I think he still looks like a lion shrine. Everybody will know that your painting is a lion shrine. I'm going to pop on over here just before we say goodbye to see if anybody has any questions. Make sure you, we love seeing your paintings. So if you want to, oh, I love them. We love seeing your paintings. If you want to share a photo on the social media and tag or hashtag and hopefully the host will put the hashtag in the chat. But we love seeing your photos online, of course. Let's see, anybody else popping up here? There it is. Hashtag PSAA paint night. Oh yeah, if everybody just do me this honor and just pause what you're doing and then hold up your canvas so everybody can see. This is like the best part. my gosh. These are so awesome. These are gorgeous. You guys, stop it. Oh my gosh. These are so good. I'm going to laugh. They're so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, these are amazing. You guys are the best. Seriously, I do these paint events all over, and the Penn State alumni, you guys are pretty amazing. Oh my gosh, love it. Share those on social media, hashtag PSAA Paint Night. I want to thank you guys again for being here with me and your patience as we work through some weird tech issues that we've never had before. I can hang out here if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you at the next one, whenever that is. Maybe I think we do them in the fall too. Is that right, Lisa? Or
If
not,
we're going to
Carly?
start up fun nights again in the fall. Yes.
Right, yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. My pleasure. You guys bring me joy when I see these paintings. They're awesome. So thank you. My pleasure. All right. So nobody has any questions. I will leave you here and say good night and see you next time.
Just one question.
Sure.
Could I just fill in with a lot of greenery?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, that looks great. Totally. Well done. All right, everybody. Good night and see you next time.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.